Niners fans, it's about that time. 7:30 on a Thursday night. Faithful Niner Empire. What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay. And once again, it is a pleasure, always a pleasure to be on with the best fans in the NFL, the faithful, the Niner Empire. Glad that I could be on with you guys tonight. We are live on a Thursday night, and I am still on that high of winning our first home game of the year against a division rival in the LA Rams. I mean, what could be better, right? I mean, our last home victory was against the LA Rams, but over a year ago. So that was great to get a win at home against our division rival. And what could really be better? I'm glad we got that win. And hopefully we can keep, hopefully the 49ers can maintain the standard. And that's what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Can the 49ers maintain the standard? Of course, we'll be talking about the 49ers versus Jags as well. I also have a Jacksonville Jaguars fan who was able to create a 5-minute video talking about the pros and cons of the Jags, and I'll be showing you guys that a little bit later on. But I'm so glad we got that win. We definitely needed to win, and what better way to do it at home against a division rival? Shout out to everyone watching Jay in the Bay Facebook, Jay in the Bay YouTube, and Jay in the Bay Twitter. I appreciate everyone coming out and watching and supporting Jay in the Bay. I appreciate everyone. Hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you let me and YouTube know that you guys are enjoying the stream. I would appreciate that. But this show is nothing. This show is nothing without the fans in the chat. And because if I wasn't talking to you, I'd be talking to myself. So always appreciate the fans in the chat who are engaging with me in the live stream. I gotta say, what's good to Kimbo? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. Kimbo says, let's go 49ers fan for life. Absolutely. And thank you for tuning in to the stream, Kimbo. And for those else that are tuned into the stream, feel free to, let me know how you guys are doing tonight on a Thursday night. Let me know in them comments. But let's get into the latest news of your San Francisco 49ers. So let's see. The latest news right now are the return of linebacker Dre Greenlaw and safety Jaquiski Tart. Both of those players are back at practice. And the players who filled in for them, Aziz Al-Shire, the linebacker, and Talanoa Hufanga, the rookie, I think they have played well in Dre Greenlaw and safety Jaquiski Tart's absence so far. Dre Greenlaw had a great first game of the year. He had that interception, that pick six against the Detroit Lions. And that was our first turnover of the year. But unfortunately, he suffered a groin injury, and he was out for about a month and a few weeks. But now he's currently back at practice. So that is great news for the 49ers. Later on in the season, we're getting players back from injury, and that's always a beautiful thing to see. Also, safety Jaquiski Tart, he went on IR with a knee injury, I believe, in week 7, but he's coming back onto the practice field. But who do you guys think should start at the safety position, Jaquiski Tart or Talanoa Hufanga? I think Tart is probably a little bit better in coverage. But it's always good to see the young rookie out there, Talanoa Hufanga, run around the field and make plays. That's always a great thing to see. But that's the latest news for the 49ers so far. John, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, John. How is your Thursday night going? I appreciate you for coming through. I was just talking about the latest 49er news. We got linebacker Dre Greenlaw and safety Jaquiski Tart. They're currently back at practice. Definitely good to see. Definitely great to have players coming back onto the field. We need it. Give me 1 second. Okay. So the 49ers play the Jacksonville Jaguars this week. The Jaguars, they're not a good team. Let's be real. The Jaguars have won 2 games. They've lost 7. They're led by a rookie head coach in Urban Meyer and also a rookie quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. Now, the 2 games that they have won have been at home. They did beat the Miami Dolphins a few weeks ago, and they beat the Buffalo Bills. And the Buffalo Bills, they are a pretty good team. Obviously, they're one of the best teams in the AFC. And Jacksonville did a pretty good job against the Bills in that game. They got after they got after Josh Allen. I believe they sacked Josh Allen 4 times in the game. And they also forced a few turnovers on the Bills. So the Jags are a young bunch. They can get after the quarterback. They can create some turnovers. But their offense is pretty one-dimensional. They have one of the worst passing attacks in the league, which is led by Trevor Lawrence. Unfortunately for Trevor Lawrence and the Jags, Trevor Lawrence has turned the ball over more times than he's thrown touchdowns. He's got an interception ratio of 9 interceptions to 8 touchdowns. So Trevor Lawrence is a turnover machine. I think the 49ers will capitalize on Trevor Lawrence being a rookie. And I think DeMeco Ryans will have a nice scheme where we'll get pressure on Lawrence and we'll force him to make some mistakes. I think if we do that, we'll definitely be closer to a victory Sunday. That's for sure. And what the Jaguars do well, though, they do run the ball well. That is one thing they do well. They are top 10 in rushing yards on average per game. They're led by running back James Robinson. He is a pretty good running back, and that's something that we have to account for because I'm not really worried about the Jags passing game. Not really concerned about it at all. Trevor Lawrence, as I mentioned before, he's a turnover machine, and I think the 49ers will capitalize on that. But I think the Jags will want to establish the run. And let's be real, faithful. We've seen it. The 49ers have struggled, to stop the run. That's for sure. The 49ers have struggled to stop the run, and that's something that we definitely have to keep in check with the Jags. If they're able to run the ball, we're definitely going to be in trouble. We did a pretty good job last week, but for whatever reason, last week the Rams decided not to run the ball. I don't know why. They decided not to run the ball, but unfortunately, that was obviously in our favor. That's for sure. John, he says, my concern against Jags D is our run D. I agree with you, John. I agree with you, man. Great minds think alike. For whatever reason, last week the Rams did not try to run the ball. They did not try to establish the run for whatever reason. But I think the Jags will do that. It's going to be a 74-degree day in Jacksonville. The weather will not be an issue. Great time for football, but I think the Jags will try to establish the run, and the 49ers will have to be prepared for it. But as I mentioned before in the beginning, the 49ers need to maintain the standard. And in my opinion, the standard for the 49ers going forward, I think some people have said that we lost our identity on offense. I think some people would say. But I think hopefully last week's game against the Rams is a sign of things to come. And the standard that we have to maintain is we got to run the ball. We ran the ball last week 44 times against the Rams. I don't think we'll run the ball that many times again this year. That's a lot of times, but if we can at least get to 35 carries, I think that'll be great. And with running the ball, we're controlling the time of possession. Last week against the Rams, we held the ball for about 39 minutes to the Rams. I think they had 21 minutes. And that's how you win football games. And that's exactly what Shanahan wants to do, run the ball. Jimmy G last week was excellent against especially on third downs. He was very efficient on third downs, throwing the ball. Jimmy G was. He was throwing the ball in tight windows. And I got to admit, I was impressed with Jimmy G. He only threw 19 passes, but that's because, we ran the ball. Why throw the ball if you can run it that many times? And we proved to the Rams that we match up well, but we got to maintain that standard of winning in time of possession, running the ball. And we were able to get 2 turnovers against Matt Stafford and that Rams offense. And I think that can continue definitely against the Jags. But my only concern with the Jags this week is an early start, 10 a.m. start, flying to the East Coast. Usually West Coast teams kind of struggle with that time change. And then also, of course, is what John mentioned, it's a run defense. That's definitely what I'm concerned about. J.R. Meadows, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, JR. How is your Thursday night going? The Jaguars also, they do have pretty good receivers too. They have Marvin Jones Jr. He leads the team with, well, first let's go with running back James Robinson. He leads the team with 100 carries, 539 rushing yards, 6 rushing touchdowns. He's also averaging about 5.4 yards per carry. Also, they have 2 pretty good receivers and a tight end that Trevor Lawrence likes to utilize. Marvin Jones, the wide receiver, he leads the team with 434 receiving yards and 38 catches. So, but honestly, I'm not too concerned about the secondary. I'm more concerned about our defensive efficiency against their running game. J.R. Meadow says, play like this the rest of the year, and I'll be happy. I need 5 more wins straight to be convinced. 5 more wins. I am cautiously optimistic about the 49ers because I thought after beating Chicago, I was like, oh, yeah, we got to win on the road against Chicago. Defense played well. The offense played pretty good. And then we came out flat against the Cardinals when the Cardinals were without, obviously, Kyler Murray, D-Hop, A.J. Green, J.J. Watt. So I was very disappointed after the Cardinals game. Then I was completely surprised, when we beat the Rams. I was shocked. So this week against the Jags, which 49er team is going to show up? I mean, that's the question. And we really don't know because that's been this team's issue so far this year. It's just been inconsistency. We've been inconsistent in a lot of areas on the field. And against the Rams, that was probably our best 60-minute performance, I would say. And can we continue that, as JR says? But the next 5 games, though, let's look at the 49ers schedule. The next 5 games, let's see. So for JR to be convinced, we've got the Jags next week. After that, we've got Minnesota. Then we have Seattle. Then we have Cincinnati. And then we got them good old ATL Falcons. I mean, I don't think we're going to go 5-0. Out of those next, I don't think so. I'd be shocked. There are some winnable games, but which 49ers team is going to show up? That is the question, JR. Blue True, what's good? Thanks for coming through to the stream, Blue True. I appreciate your donation to the Jay in the Bay YouTube channel. Hopefully you're having an excellent night, Blue True. Thanks for tuning in. I know you were happy about that 49er victory on Monday Night Football prime time. Let's see. J.R. Meadow says, I think we woke now. I hope so. We're going to need to be because this Jacksonville Jaguars team is young players with talent. They have nothing to lose. They're at home. They've only won both of their games at home, so they play their best at home. So this is not going to be an easy game, but I think we need to have the same game plan that we had against the Rams. Run the ball. The offensive line did a great job in protecting Jimmy. And I love the play calling I saw from Kyle Shanahan. I loved it. It was excellent, and we executed, especially on third downs. And that's something that we're going to have to continue to do. Payo Time, what's good? Thanks for coming through to the stream, Payo Time. Everyone knows Payo Time is an LA Rams fan, and I welcome all fans, no matter who you root for, especially if you're in the NFC West. I enjoy Payo Time, and he has a great YouTube channel. Keep growing, Payo Time, and continue the grind, man. I appreciate you coming through to the stream. Hope you are well as well, Payo Time, man. I appreciate that. J.R. Meadow says Mac Jones is good. Yeah, I mean, people were saying when Mac Jones was drafted, he was the most ready college quarterback that came out of the draft this year. I mean, people were saying that. And Mac Jones, he's definitely able to execute some throws. Unfortunately, Trey Lance and Mac Jones, they'll always be compared. But it's kind of unfair to compare Mac Jones and Trey Lance now for the obvious reasons. Mac Jones has started every game this year. Trey Lance has only started one game. He basically played in one game in significant snaps. So it's really an unfair comparison. But yeah, Mac Jones, he's looking pretty good. But if we had to do it all over again, I would still select Trey Lance. There's 100% no doubt I would still select Trey if we had to do this all over again. Shay Martinez, what's good? Thanks for coming through to the stream, Shay. Shay says, I'm not convinced that they're a worthy team yet. And I totally understand that because, like I said before, inconsistency has been, unfortunately, this team's biggest Achilles heel. It's been something that we haven't been able to obtain. We haven't been able to play a full 60 minutes of football consistently and playing at a high level. So, I definitely understand you being hesitant about this team. I don't know if they're worthy yet either. They put together a hell of a performance against the LA Rams, but I'm like, why can't y'all do this? Why didn't y'all do this against the Cardinals? I mean, I don't know if, hey, human nature, the 49ers knew, hey, they're without Kyler, they're without AJ Green, they're without D-Hop. We could just show up. But, usually the better teams in the NFL, sometimes they can have that attitude, but we're not one of the better teams. So I'm not I'm not sure why we can't continue that consistency. Not sure why, but that'll be a key. If we can go out and beat Jacksonville, I think we will be a much better we'll be a much better position to possibly go to the playoffs. I think that's for sure. David McNew, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, D. David says if we run the ball 40-ish times, we win. If we pass the ball 30-ish times, we lose. We need to win the time of possession and keep the D fresh. Now, that's a great point, David. I appreciate your contributions to the stream tonight. Make sure everyone you hit that thumbs up button. I appreciate it, man. And make sure you subscribe if you haven't subscribed. But now, not only is it important to win the time of possession, run the ball effectively, but it helps our defense. This is less time that the defense has to be on the field. And that is a great observation because with the 49ers having the ball last week for 39 minutes, that means that the 49ers defense only had to be on the field about 21 minutes. So, that is a great thing when you can win the time of possession, run the ball down their throat. They can do anything to stop it. And, man, that's a great point, David, and very true. Very true. The defense was really fresh against the Rams. And I believe, off the top of my head, I believe that was the lowest points we allowed all season, 10 points, I believe. Let's see. I'm just double checking. So we allowed 11 points to the Eagles, and that was before. But yeah, against the Rams, we only allowed 10 points. So that was incredible. That was great. And that's due to the 49ers having, winning the time of possession and the defense being fresh so they can play consistently throughout all four quarters. Payo Time says, question, who on the Niners is most likely not to be with the team next season? Man, I mean, we got all day, Payo. I'll give you one name, Mike McGlinchey. But honestly, I feel like regardless of what happens this year, I think there's going to be a lot of new faces on this team. We signed a lot of 1-year contracts, and that happened obviously due to part of it was due to the pandemic. Some players weren't able to get those long-term contracts, but also the 49ers, they thought this team would be a Super Bowl contender, or at least go deep in the playoffs. So we signed a lot of players on 1-year contracts, but there will be a lot of fresh new faces on this team next year. But first name off the top of my head is Mike McGlinchey. I don't think he'll be back next year. I think he had, I would say his earlier years were better. Toward the end, he was a little bit inconsistent in his pass coverage or his pass blocking. But there's going to be a lot of new players on this team next year, that's for sure. But off the top of my head, I would say Mike McGlinchey. I think his days are done with the 49ers. APW Sports, what's good? Me and APW Sports had a live stream together when we played the Bears. Shout out to APW Sports, excellent YouTuber. He represents the Chicago Bears well. APW says, the way you guys looked last week, I'm predicting a win for y'all. Jacksonville is all over the place. Yeah, Jacksonville has been inconsistent so far this year, but that's what you would expect from a rookie quarterback, a rookie head coach. And speaking of the coaches, I think Kyle Shanahan has a significant advantage over Urban Meyer, I would think. And I like D'Amico Ryan's chances going up against Urban Meyer as being the czar of the offense on the Jaguar side. But I appreciate your feedback, APW Sports. Let's see. Shay Martinez says the O-line is not balanced and the coach can't draw up any consistent winning drives. That's very true. And whether it's the play calling, whether it's execution, I think what impressed me most last week against the Rams was the execution on third down. I mean, that definitely helped us in the game, especially in the first half. That's been something. I think we're one of the. I have to double check the stats, but I don't think we're doing very good across the board, across the season, as far as efficiency on third down on offense and getting those first downs. But last week, hopefully that we can start a trend with being great on third downs. But that statement is very true, and that's part of the reason why we have the record we do. Blue True says, yes, go Niners, absolutely. Let's see. John says, thoughts on Jimmy G's performance thus far, especially in shotgun. I mean, his last 3 games, I think 2 of the last 3, he's thrown for over 300 yards. And I think 2 out of the last 3 games, he has a total of 4 touchdowns. I think Jimmy's been pretty solid. He's been consistent throwing the ball. He's been very accurate, and he's been money on third downs. He's had to throw the ball in tight windows, which is definitely something great to see. And I like what I've seen so far from Jimmy. What are your thoughts on Jimmy, John? Let me know in them comments. But I want to play a video for you guys of a Jacksonville Jaguars YouTuber. Goes by the name of Brett James. He was kind enough to make a video, and he covers a lot of the Florida sports, but he loves his Jacksonville Jaguars, and he has a YouTube channel, and he knows the Jacksonville Jaguars inside and out. So I wanted to play a video for you guys. This is what he made for me, and he gives his thoughts on the Jaguars this year. Let's get into the video.
What's going on, 49ers fans? My name is Brett James, and I'm a Jacksonville Jaguars YouTuber. I'd like to give a huge shout-out to Jay and the Bay for bringing me on to the show today to break down the Jaguars side of things. Now, 49er fans and the 49ers organization is looking a lot more optimistic about their chances of making this year's NFL playoffs, fighting for that wild card position, sitting at 4-5 and coming off a huge victory versus the LA Rams when there was all that chirp and all that noise about super team formed in LA with Sean McVay, newly acquired Odell Beckham Jr. and Von Miller. 49ers put that to sleep in San Francisco, but the Jaguars on the other side, not looking too hot, currently sitting at 2-7, 0-3 in the division, coming off a heartbreaking loss versus the Indianapolis Colts. But let's talk about the Jaguars now. Now, while I am a little bit biased about the Jaguars, of course, I think that their record is not very indicative of how well they've actually played, especially defensively, which has been the bright spot for this team this year. And the stats don't really back it up all that much, but they do deserve credit where credit is due. And that was very evident versus the Buffalo Bills when they beat Josh Allen, the #1 scoring offense, and held them to only 6 points The Indianapolis Colts did score 23 points, but one of those was on a blocked punt. So the Jaguars defense only allowed the Indian Chason, Jihad Ward, Roy Robertson Harrison, and a handful of other guys. And even 2018 first-round bust pick Taven Bryan out of the University of Florida is playing a lot better. These guys are getting home and generating pressure. You've seen that versus Carson Wentz. You've seen it versus Josh Allen. The Jaguars defense has to continue to build on what they've been doing the last couple of weeks if they want to have a shot at rattling Jimmy Garoppolo and Kyle Shanahan. But the Jaguars offense is clearly the concern. Now, obviously, there's all this hype with number 1 overall pick Trevor Lawrence, who we all love dearly, and I do believe in this guy's talent and his ability. But the problem is there's not enough skill position guys to help him out. Dan Arnold, the tight end that we acquired from the Carolina Panthers in that C.J. Henderson trade earlier this season, has been the Jaguars' best target since week 4, to put it plain and simple. Marvin Jones Jr., Jamal Agnew, Laviska Shenault, all of these guys are very serviceable and good guys, but none of these guys are number 1, maybe not even a number 2 receiver. The Jaguars are horrendous on third down. They went 5 of 15 last week. But not only that, I think the Jaguars actually lead the NFL, if I'm not mistaken, in third down drop passes. The guys just got to help their rookie quarterback out. And Trevor Lawrence has had a struggle to his first 9 games of the season, only completing 58% of his passes, just under 2,000 yards, 1,983, 8 passing touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and he does have 2 rushing touchdowns as well. But Trevor Lawrence, I'm not really concerned with. The 49ers pass defense has been very solid, though, only allowing 208 passing yards to opposing quarterbacks this season. So I don't know how well the Jags are going to hold up against Bosa, Eric Armstead, Fred Warner in that defense, in that 4-3. But I do think that the Jaguars' offense at home does play significantly better than they do away. And I do think that this will have a little bit of a bounce-back game, especially after they put up only 6 points versus Buffalo. And then the Jags' offense only put up 17 versus the Colts. I think that the Jags are actually going to do a lot better this week, and I think Darrell Bevell and this offense is going to get Trevor Lawrence and this team ready. And the last thing I'll say about the Jaguars right now is the fact that the special teams lost us the game last week. Matthew Wright missed a field goal, and also Logan Cook had that block punt. Had that punt not been blocked, that would have been a completely different ball game. But that's neither here nor there. The Colts won that game fair and square. But that's really it for this video. I just want to say thank you again, Jay and the Bay, for bringing me on to the show. Last thing I'll say is 49ers fans, if you guys can't fly out to Jacksonville and watch the game, I've got season tickets, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that vlog after the Jaguars and the 49ers put on a good show Sunday. Thank you again.
All righty. So that was Jacksonville Jaguars fan and YouTuber Brett James. Clearly, he's very knowledgeable and he's passionate about his Jacksonville Jaguars. And he spoke highly of this team when they're at home. He mentioned that, hey, when they're at home, they won the only games they won were at home, and those were the 2 games against Miami and Buffalo. But this team has nothing to lose. They're playing for a rookie head coach. They have young talent. Obviously, they love to run the ball. We got to worry about Josh Allen, the outside linebacker. He leads the team with 5.5 sacks. So shout out to Brett James, YouTuber. Thanks for recording that video for me. And thanks for letting the faithful, the Niner Empire, thanks for letting us know the ins and outs of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I'm looking forward to the game this weekend. Let's get back into them comments. Luke Luna says, gang, gang. Absolutely. I know you are fired up about that win against the LA Rams. I know you're excited for the game against Jacksonville. I know your support for the 49ers has never wavered. You knew they were going to win. But hey, you're a better man than me, because I was not sure. I was very skeptical of the 49ers, that's for sure. They surprised me. And hopefully we can start a trend. That's the way we should play. That's the standard. And I think if we do that against Jacksonville, I think we definitely will win the game. Payo Time says, thoughts on Jamal Agnew? He seems to be the best returner in the NFL and getting more involved in the passing game. Well, I haven't seen too much tape on Jamal Agnew, but I'm looking forward to seeing him up close. Let's see how he plays, against, I still believe, one of the better defenses. I mean, if you look at pass defense, the 49ers are actually top 5 in pass defense. So let's see how he does, against Jamal Agnew when he's in the passing game. And I don't think we've allowed a kickoff or a punt touchdown, a special teams touchdown so far this year. So We'll see what Jamal Agnew, what he can do against our special teams and our defense. I'm looking forward to the challenge. John says he was high on Fields during the draft, not going to lie, but I'm still excited at the prospect of Lance's potential and development. Yeah, John, before the draft, the talk after we had traded up to number 3, it was Fields, Lance, or even Mac Jones. And, I honestly I don't watch too much college football. I just knew we needed to get another quarterback because of Jim and G's, injury history and basically just lack of not being there on the field. So I knew we needed to upgrade at quarterback, and I would have been sold on Fields or Lance. I know Fields had more. He played more college football, and he played he played at Ohio State. He played at he's playing amongst future NFL players in college. And Trey Lance, obviously his I would say the people he were playing against, the defenses he were playing against, most of those guys are not going to be in the NFL. So clearly Justin Fields played against a higher level of competition. But I thought either one of those quarterbacks, Fields or Lance, would play their best under the tutelage of Coach Kyle Shanahan. That's for sure. So either quarterback we would have taken, I would have supported the decision. That's for sure. Corey Davis, KD, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, KD. Hopefully you're having a great Thursday night. And KD also says, Jay in the Bay, what's your score prediction in the 49ers at Jags game? I think if we can maintain that standard of winning the time of possession, running the ball, executing on third downs, slowing down the opposition's running game, and maybe get some turnovers on defense, if we do those 5 things consistently, the 49ers will definitely win this game. And I think we should win this game easily by 10 points at least. I think the 49ers will win this game 24-14. KD, go ahead, drop your prediction in the 49ers and Jags game. Who do you think will win the game? Let me know. Bree 973, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. Hopefully you're having an excellent Thursday night. And shout out Stream Elements is letting me know that I have a new subscriber to Jay in the Bay. I appreciate the support. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, and also make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Let me know that you're enjoying the stream. Luke Luna says everyone was writing Jimmy off, even the supporters, but this is the reason Kyle will keep starting Jimmy when you pay him so the rookie could be redshirted. I think if Jimmy wins, and the 49ers continue to win, Jimmy's playing well, I think he will remain the starter. But if this team loses some games back to back, I think Trey Lance will see more of the field. That's for sure. I don't even think, honestly, it's about the money. And I just think Shanahan feels, and we knew this. We knew this. Shanahan feels that Jimmy gives us the best chance to win. And let's be real. We're not at the practices. The Kyle Shanahan and the coaching staff see these 2 quarterbacks, and Shanahan is more comfortable with going with the veteran. But Shanahan, we've seen Shanahan. He loves his veteran players. You look at right tackle, Tom Compton. He got some snaps. And unfortunately, Jalen Moore, he did get the start, but then he got hurt. And Tom Compton came in to start for him. You look at the cornerbacks, he likes Josh Norman over Demo Lenore. And Norman has the experience, but I don't know. I don't think Norman's going to be on this team long term. And I think Demo Lenore, Ambry Thomas should be getting snaps. But we have to keep into perspective that Shanahan can't really be concerned about next year because he's trying to win now. Unfortunately, Shanahan only has 1 winning season as a 49ers head coach, and he wants to, get as many wins as he can this season and try to get to the playoffs. Some fans feel that's not realistic, but 1 game at a time, and there is an extra wild card spot this year, so you never know. Luke Luna says, Jay, you finally let what they were putting on tape get to you, and I get it. I'll say this. You always knew what we had on this team, and you had faith all season. The team left reasons to doubt. And that's why I was skeptical. That's why I was skeptical, Luke, because as you mentioned, your last statement, the team left reasons to doubt. There's no doubt about that. And it's due to them being inconsistent. That's why I had doubt. They put together a hell of a performance on Monday night, and they need to play with that same intensity, that same fire, that same passion against the 2-7 Jacksonville Jaguars. So we'll see what team comes to what shows up, but I think we will win this game. Luke Luna says, I still saw what they could be if they woke up for this game. Yes, there's no doubt. This team is talented. No questions about it. Make no mistake about it. This team, and we all knew, this team is talented. For whatever reason, the consistency has been an issue with this team. But there's no doubt. This team is talented. KD is giving us his score of the game. He's got the 49ers winning 28 and the Jags having 13 points. Okay. I can see that. Luke Luna says yes to a fault. He rides with the vets. Yeah, because I think he's more comfortable with them. They have more experience, and it shows on the field. Yes, they're going to make some mistakes, but he feels the upside is much better than the mistakes they bring on the field. So that's Shanahan's deal. Luke Luna says, he says the Jags are a Super Bowl team, period. That's just what it is, because in the end, a loss keeps you from one yourself. Impose your will on everyone with equally. Okay. Yeah, I don't agree with that. I don't think the Jags are a Super Bowl team. I don't agree with that. Maybe obviously you're kidding. David says Shanahan doesn't like to play rookies. I am with playing Lenore, Ambry Thomas, and Aaron Banks. Took injuries for Mitchell and Jalen Moore to play. Yeah. I mean, Shanahan, he wants to ride with the vets. He knows what to expect from them. And that's why I understand, playing those guys. It just sucks when you see, Brunskill, he's not playing consistent enough. Obviously, his play rises when he goes against Aaron Donald. He needs to pretend like he's playing Aaron Donald every week, because for whatever reason, Daniel Brunskill, he plays his best going up against Aaron Donald. I guess Aaron Donald just raises his level of intensity and focus and all that. But Brunskill, when he doesn't play Aaron Donald, he is inconsistent. Mike McGlinchey, I mean, he's solid. Obviously, I don't think he'll be with the Niners next year. But I guess I think McGlinchey probably plays better at his position than Brunskill. It may not be by much, but I can see why you probably want to stick with McGlinchey on the right side. But I do love Jalen Moore. I think he will be our future right tackle. I know he injured his knee in last week's game, and he got an MRI. There was no structural damage, but we'll see how he is. Basically, he's listed Jalen Moore as day-to-day. So hopefully he'll be able to play. If not, we'll see Tom Compton. And Lenore, I thought he played well. Obviously he did get beat, but he played well for, being the starter when Jason Verrett was out, when Emmanuel Mosley was out. He was our best corner. But Shanahan wants to ride with Josh Norman. And Norman, he's made some plays and he's made some dumb plays. But, Josh Norman, he's solid. And as far as Ambry Thomas, it just seems like he wasn't ready. He did not play his last year at the University of Michigan. He decided to opt out, which I respect. But it just didn't seem like he hit the ground running in training camp. But I think that was to be expected. At least if you let John Lynch tell you, that's what they expected. They didn't think he would, contribute much, especially if we were able to stay healthy in the secondary. That's for sure. David says, I would like to see Trey Sermon get some carries. Man, I agree with you. But for whatever reason, Sermon is not proving to Shanahan that he's better than Elijah Mitchell, Jermichael Hasty, or Jeff Wilson Jr. And I wish we could see the practices, but for whatever reason, Trey Sermon has not impressed Kyle Shanahan yet. And right now, Trey Sermon, he is the bottom man on the running back depth chart, man. Those are facts. He is the bottom man on the running back depth chart. Feel free to leave your prediction of the 49ers and Jaguars game. I think the 49ers will win this game 24-14. Feel free to drop your prediction in them comments. Let's see. J.R. Meadows is giving his prediction of the 49ers and Jags game. He's got the 49ers winning 22-0. All right. I mean, the Jags do have one of the worst passing games in the NFL. Trevor Lawrence is a turnover machine, but they do want to run the ball, and that's going to be key for the 49ers to get a victory. We got to be able to stop the run. John with a great question, man. I was thinking about this before I logged on. John asked, do you think Tart is going to get the starting position back, or did Hufanga win the spot? I think they're going to give it back to Tart. And I don't think Hufanga could have played better than what he's played, but Shanahan loves his vets. And if Tart is healthy, I think he trusts Tart a little bit more than Hufanga. And I wonder how much input does DeMeco Ryans have? Like if DeMeco Ryans said, hey, Hufanga right now is the better safety than Tart, I wonder would Shanahan ride with that, or would Shanahan say, no, I'm going with Tart? Like, I don't know. I mean, Shanahan does have say over the 53-man roster. But as far as who starts on game day on defense, I'm sure he relies somewhat on his defensive coaches. But I wouldn't be surprised if Tart is back out there at safety. But I wouldn't be surprised either if Hufanga still gets some snaps. I know Hufanga is still on special teams, but I wouldn't be surprised if Hufanga is used on some defensive snaps as well. But I think Tart, if he's healthy, he'll probably get majority of the snaps. Corey Davis giving us an update on Thursday Night Football prime time. He's got the Patriots up 25-0 on them good old ATL Falcons. I know Big Low Country and Enjoy My World are hotter than fish grease. Luke Luna says, Jay, I'm just saying that has to be the mindset that the Jags are a Super Bowl team. Approach each game and impose your will on everyone equally. In the end, a loss to any team keeps us out of the playoffs. I definitely agree. And the 49ers need to approach this game as we have to win this game. I mean, the 49ers, in order for us to make the playoffs, we pretty much have to win out. We have to win more games than we lose. We have 7 games left, I believe, or 8 games left. So we're going to have to win the majority of those games. We're going to have to win probably at least 5 or 6 of those games to try to get into that wild card spot. That's for sure. So, of course, I'm excited for the game, but I'm more excited to see how the 49ers come out. Do the 49ers come out sluggish? Do the 49ers come out like, oh, we're the 49ers, you're the Jags, you're just going to lay down, like kind of like how we did against the Arizona Cardinals? It'll be interesting to see which 49er team shows up. Luke Luna says, I think we can lose one more game, but I'm not comfortable with anything more than that. I agree. With the playoffs on the line, we can't. I mean, we could probably get in the playoffs if we have like a 9-8 record, maybe, but I don't, that might be, that would be pushing it really close. But yeah, I don't think we're going to win out per se. I think it'll be, we're going to have to win at least 5 or 6 of the rest of our games at least. And we have some favorable matchups on the schedule, but we've been inconsistent this year, so it's hard to say, oh yeah, we'll beat this team, we'll beat that team, we'll beat that team. Like, it's hard to say that. Luke Luna gave me his prediction on the 49ers. He's got the 49ers winning 31-6. Hot diggity dog. All right. I see you, Double L. Luke Luna also says Tart gives them more freedom because he can cover deep and hit people at the line. I love Huff, but I hope they convert him to linebacker. If not, I trust him either way. I think he's been pretty solid at safety. But as you mentioned, Tart, he is a more experienced player. He is better in coverage at this time. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. That's why I said I wouldn't be surprised if Tart gets to start. in regards to the 49ers Thursday practice, the players who did not practice, running back Jermichael Hasty with the ankle injury. If Jermichael does not practice tomorrow, which is Friday, I would be surprised if he plays. And the same goes with defensive lineman Maurice Hurst. He's battling a calf. If he doesn't practice tomorrow, they probably won't play on Sunday. And also running back Elijah Mitchell, he's got the rib, he's got the finger. Unfortunately, he broke his finger in the Rams game. He had a surgery on it, I believe that was on Monday. But we'll see if he'll be able to play. I mean, I think he'll basically be like a game time decision on Sunday. We'll definitely need him. I mean, he is the best running back on the roster right now. But we'll see how his injury status progresses through the week. Hopefully he can practice tomorrow. Limited participant, Jalen Moore. We know Jalen Moore had that knee injury sustained against the Rams on Monday night. But he was a limited participant in practice today. So if he's another limited participant tomorrow, he's more than likely will play on Sunday. Cornerback Josh Norman was also a limited participant due to the rib injury. He had the same rib injury last week, and he played against the Rams. So I'm sure Josh Norman is trending towards playing. And wide receiver Deebo Samuel, this is the first I've seen. He has a shin injury, but he is expected to play, especially if he practices tomorrow. But that is the Thursday practice report. Also, Dre Greenlaw and Jaquiski Tartt, they were at practice today as well. Let's get back to these comments. Let's see. John offers his prediction for the 49ers and Jags game. He's got the 49ers winning 28-3. All right. I like that. David has the 49ers beating the Jags 24-15. Okay, yeah, I had a similar score. I had the 49ers winning 24-14. But there are some players on the Jags defensive side of the ball we should all be on the lookout for. One of the Jags' best defensive players is Josh Allen. He's an outside linebacker. He leads the team right now with 5.5 sacks. So we should, our offensive line definitely will have to be aware of him. I was looking at some of the game tape from the Bills game, and Josh Allen, he lined up majority of the time on the offense's left side of the line. So, he'll be lining up against Trent Williams, and I like that matchup. I like Trent Williams going up against Josh Allen. I think we have a favorable matchup there. But if he goes to the right side of the offensive line, which he has done, and it seems like the Jags like to move him around a little bit, he will be going up against hopefully Jalen Moore, and that'll be a good test for the rookie. Josh Allen, he's a young up-and-coming pass rusher, and Jalen Moore is a rookie, so that would be, an interesting matchup. And hopefully Jalen Moore will be able to play on Sunday. If not, it'll be Tom Compton, who he held his own versus the Rams. Josh Allen, in addition to his 5.5 sacks, 41 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, and 1 fumble recovery. Also, we got to look out for linebacker Damian Wilson. He leads the team with 64 tackles, so he can definitely get after the ball carrier. And I think those will be the 2 most impactful defensive Jags players. Let's get back to these comments. Blue True says the 49ers should play the Jags like they are the Rams. I know we need that same intensity and fire and passion that they played, against the LA Rams. We need a repeat of that type of effort. We don't need a Arizona Cardinal effort. If we come out like we played against the Arizona Cardinals, then I would be surprised if we win the game, unless Jacksonville has a bunch of turnovers or penalties. But we have to come out with the right mindset, the right intensity. That's for sure. I agree with you, Blue True. Looks like Luke Luna agrees with Blue True. David says 10-7 should make the playoffs, but I'm hoping for 11-6. Mitchell has not practiced. Yeah. So he's been a limited participant. So He hasn't been in team drills, but I would suggest that means he's been participating in like individual drills. But I'm sure there's no contact. That's for sure. But yeah, he just limited drills, individual drills and things like that. But it'd be interesting to see, will he be able to play with a broken finger? I mean, I don't know. We'll see. But it says he might be able to. At least the team is optimistic. But we'll see, on game day. And if Mitchell can't play, obviously Jeff Wilson Jr. I like the addition of Jeff Wilson Jr. I think he's great running in between the guards and tackles up the middle of the field. And maybe we'll get Jermichael Hasty. He did not practice today, so we'll see. If he's not available, Trey Sermon will be there. And hopefully Trey Sermon can make the most out of his opportunity if he's able to play against the Jags. Well, yeah, I agree. I think 10-7 should be able to make the playoffs, but it's kind of hard to look that far down the road because we just gotta. Can we put another back-to-back full 60-minute performance? That's what I'm looking forward to on Sunday. Can we execute again for 60 minutes? Luke Luna is giving us an update on Elijah Mitchell on the practice field. Mitchell was on the practice field in the blue no contact. Exactly, yeah. So they're taking it easy with Mitchell. Obviously, he's got that broken finger. And yeah, there's no way. I think he'll be probably in that blue no contact jersey for the rest of the week. Obviously, there's only one more practice day, which is Friday. But I would be surprised if, if he's not in that blue contact jersey. They want to keep him away from harm's way up until game day. That's for sure. And Luke says if he can't play, I think Sermon and Wilson can pull the load. I agree with you. And, I want to see more of Trey Sermon because it doesn't look like Jermichael Hasty will play, but we'll see what happens. We'll see if he can practice tomorrow. But there's no doubt Mitchell, I think there's another level to his speed. Now, I can only speak for myself, but I think I was spoiled with Raheem Mostert. Raheem Mostert was one of the fastest running backs in the NFL. I don't think Elijah Mitchell is there yet, but Mitchell does have that home run capability. There's no doubt about that. He can run away from defenders. That's for sure. And it's always good to see him run in the open field because not too many defenders can catch up to him. Yeah, I knew what you meant, Luke. I knew what you meant. David says Mitchell just needs to rub some dirt on it. Easy for you to say, David. If he'll play, I'm sure he will. Mitchell has battled injuries so far this year. He had the shoulder. I think he had the rib injury. Now he's got the broken finger. So, he's been battling injuries and he's been playing through it when he can. Now, going back to this Jags offense. Now, I did say that they have one of the worst passing offenses in the NFL in regards to passing yards per game. Also in points scored, they're one of the two worst teams as far as the least amount of average points scored so far this season. They're only behind, or I think the Texans are in front of them. I think the Jags only average about 13 or 14 games per game. So the Jags offense is putrid, but they can run the ball. And we have to watch out for running back James Robinson. He leads the team with 100 carries, 539 rushing yards, and 6 rushing touchdowns. So James Robinson can run the rock, and that's what we struggle at most on the 49ers defense is stopping the run. Wide receiver Marvin Jones, he leads the team with 38 catches and 434 receiving yards. I'm not too worried about the air attack from the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think D'Amico Ryans can confuse Trevor Lawrence. I think he will bring pressure. I like our defensive line up against the Jags offensive line. But the first thing is defense has to do is, stop the run, force third and long situations, and get off the field on third down and make the Jags pump the ball. Let's continue on with these comments. Let's see. Luke says, I think Mostert is the fastest person, period, in the NFL. I would probably agree with you on that when Mostert was healthy because I think they clocked him at like miles per hour, and I want to say the fastest I think Mostert was maybe like 22 or 23 miles per hour. Like that's how fast he was running, and I think that was the fastest on the field. I know Tyreek Hill is pretty fast too. That would be an interesting race. Tyreek Hill and Raheem Mostert. I wonder who would win that, but both of those players really fast. John says, imagine if Mostert was healthy this season. 1-2 punch with Mostert and Mitchell, we'd be gashing teams. I agree. And, we know Mostert, he can't carry the load. Most running backs can't. And that would have been a great 1-2 punch. Or even if Jeff Wilson Jr. run up the middle, Mostert and Mitchell run outside. I like that too. But yeah, it's too bad. Mostert has a lot of talent, but he's been nicked up a lot in the past, and unfortunately, he can't stay healthy. It'll be interesting to see if the Niners bring him back. I'm sure there's a small section of the fan base who don't want him to come back, and then there's another section of the fan base who do want him to come back. I mean, if it was on like a 1-year deal, not a lot of money guaranteed, I wouldn't be mad at it. I wouldn't be mad at it at all because I'm sure the 49ers will draft another running back this year. I wouldn't be surprised. Jeff Wilson Jr. is on a 1-year deal. Jermichael Hasty's on a 1-year deal, so there's no guarantee those two backs will be back. Mostert will be a free agent after this season. So the only two running backs who are currently on the roster who have contracts longer than next year is Elijah Mitchell and Trey Sermon. So I would not be surprised at all if we brought on some more a fresh face in the running back room. I would not be surprised by that. Luke Luna says Mostert has been clocked as the fastest. I know Tyreek Hill thinks he is, but he hasn't been clocked at Raheem speeds when Mostert is at the wheel. I haven't, I know Tyreek Hill, he's a cheetah, he's fast. I haven't seen the miles per hour clock being put on him before, which is weird. I've seen that clock been put on Mostert, but I haven't seen it on Tyreek Hill. But they're both obviously two of the fastest guys in the NFL, that's for sure. I appreciate if everyone could hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. I appreciate everyone who contributed to the stream tonight. I appreciate all the comments. I appreciate that super sticker, Blue True. And I had a blast tonight. I'm looking forward to the game on Sunday. And I believe, let's see. Looks like we have another comment. Luke says, I'd love to have Mostert back, but but they only wanted to keep one vet. Who would you pick, Wilson or Mostert, if one was to walk? I mean, Mostert, you got that home run ability, but he can't stay healthy. Jeff Wilson Jr., he's had trouble staying healthy too. So they're both two injury-prone running backs. Man. I feel like Mitchell is similar to Mostert. Very fast. I think Mostert's probably a little bit faster. And Wilson, he's good in between the tackles. And I think Trey Sermon is good in between the tackles, but Shanahan doesn't really believe in Trey Sermon. If it was me, I mean, I don't know. They're both two injury-prone players. I guess you would say Jeff Wilson Jr., he's younger, so maybe he'll have more years in the NFL. I think Raheem Mostert's almost at 30. So probably have to go with Jeff Wilson Jr. if I can only pick one. John says, if there was one person you'd wish was healthy right now, who would it be? I'd pick Jason Verrett. That's a great question. I'm going to put that up as a question. That's a great question, man. So if you could bring back one healthy player, who would it be? great question by John. Let me pull your comment back up there. Man, whew. That is a great question because you could say Javon Kinlaw. You could say, hey, bring Dre Greenlaw back. I appreciate that $2 super sticker, Luke Luna. I appreciate that, man. Thank you for your donation. You could say Mike McGlinchey. Nah, you wouldn't say that. Yeah, I mean, Jason Verrett. I think he would. I mean, can you imagine this defense with Jason Verrett, a healthy Jason Verrett, like he played in last year in 2020? Man, that would help this defense immensely. Like, I think it would bring this defense to another level. So yeah, I like that pick of Jason Verrett, but I'm gonna choose someone different. I'm gonna go with Javon Kinlaw because I think Javon Kinlaw helps in the run game. He takes on double teams. I think in the games that he's played, we've given up less yardage when he's in the game versus when he's out. So for me, I agree with you. Jason Verrett would help this defense greatly, but I think I'm gonna go with Javon Kinlaw. Luke Luna, he gives us an answer to if you could bring back one healthy player, who would it be? And Raheem Mostert, man, we were just talking about him. Luke Luna says Raheem Mostert because we wouldn't lose another game. Mostert is our MVP. There's no doubt Mostert, he's a home run hitter. Anytime he touches the ball, if he gets past, and he does very often, when he gets past the first line of defense, which is the defensive line, linebackers can't catch Raheem Mostert. Guys in the secondary can't catch Raheem Mostert. So when he gets past that first line of defense, man, Mostert can take it to the house anytime he has the ball. So that's another great answer because Mostert would help this offense. And I think we would, if Mostert was healthy, I think we would see, if we were able to run the ball every game, I think we would easily have over 35 carries in every game because with Mostert, Mitchell, Wilson Jr., I mean, I think those would be our three best running backs. Luke Luna says teams are scared when he's in the game as well, and it opens up the field. I would agree. I mean, obviously he's a perfect back in Shanahan's offense. It's surprising that no other team was able to utilize him as a running back, But thanks to Shanahan's offense. But I appreciate everyone tuning in to the stream tonight. Shout out to Luke Luna, Blue True for those super stickers and super chats. Shout out to John. I appreciate your conversation. Shout out to David, Corey Davis, JR. I appreciate your contributions. Bree, thanks for tuning in. Payo Time was also in here tonight. Shay Martinez, APW Sports. Thanks for tuning in to the stream tonight. I appreciate all you guys' contributions. Kimbo, appreciate your contributions as well. Looking forward to the game. I will have a pre-game live stream, of course, on the Jay and the Bay YouTube channel, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Sunday morning. And also I will have a post-game show as well. I appreciate if y'all could come in and we could talk about the latest news, players that are active for the game, inactive, how that will affect the game. And yeah, man, I appreciate you guys' continued support. Luke Luna, I appreciate you, man. Appreciate your contributions to the stream always. And you love your 49ers and you rep them hard, man. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate everyone tuning in to the stream. Shout out everyone watching Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Appreciate that. And everyone have a great rest of your night. David says, go Niners. Absolutely. John says, great stream again, Jay. Catch you on the next one. Absolutely, man. Appreciate you, John. Appreciate everyone in the stream tonight. I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a good rest of your night. And thanks for watching your boy, Jay in the Bay. I'll see you guys in the next one. Go Niners. Oh, and what's good to Samuel Montero. Thanks for tuning into the stream. Just getting ready to end the stream, but go ahead, hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to Jay in the Bay. He says, I'm hoping to see Trey play. Love your videos, man. I appreciate that, man. Appreciate your kind words. As long as Jimmy plays, I would be surprised if Trey gets into the game. I want to see Trey too, but Jimmy's playing well. I just think we'll probably see more Jimmy than not. So, but I appreciate the kind words, man. You have a good rest of your night, and go Niners. I think we will win the game against the Jags 24-14. See you guys in the next one.